Wonderful, wonderful.
Good morning. Good morning to all of you here in the room. Good morning to those of you who are not in the room, but by this miracle of technology, you're here as well because we are all one. So we're full of symbols here this morning, aren't we? I mean, just that song Kumbaya has a connotation of all you Kumbaya people, you know, those love and peace people. First, yes, I think it means come by me. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, says the werewolf. So those of you who are new to Unity Santa Rosa, my name is Reverend Sonya Milton. I'm the once in a while speaker here, and I'm proud to do that. And thank you, all of you who signed that beautiful thank you note that I received. You know, I keep coming back, don't I? I live over the hill in Napa, so I really enjoy the ride over, especially when it's not raining. So, and especially since they're doing road work around Sonoma, so I can't come that way, so I get to come up and down. Wow. So I've got these ears on, if you've noticed, because it was all I had at the house. But you know, and then I thought, well, I'll just wear my blondie boots and some blue jeans and just kind of come comfortable, because usually I kind of costume up. But today I'm not, and so I'm doing the opposite. So that's really cool, except for these. I don't wear these around. Mine are very small normally, and you can't see them, but I wear them under my hair, and they're just there because, you know, we've got to have balance in all ways. We need a little levity today, don't we? You know? We do. We always do. And one time I thought I would be doing stand-up, but I think that's what I'm doing. Anyway. Hafiz wrote, "This place where you are right now, God circled on a map for you. Like it or not, in this room or wherever you are in your life and in your mind and in your circumstances, this is where we are right now." And what I want to talk about this morning is this idea of non-dual awareness, which is kind of a buzzword, but it's really those of us truth students, those of us who've been practicing in unity for all these years, that's really what we're doing. And when I just started to explore it, I realized that's what we are anyway. If you look at our 5 tenets, our five principles, especially the first one, we're all, the first and the second, God is all there is, and the second is we are all there is. So there's no you and me and him and her, or right or wrong, and Washington and California. So think of how grand and big we need to make our consciousness so we can encase and encompass it all. So we have this reflection today on non-dual awareness, a way of seeing that transcends the natural and ordinary division of me and you, us and them, sacred and profound, here and there. And of course, we can't help but do some reflections on Halloween. So I was on this path of this non-dual awareness, and then Reverend Patricia wrote and said, oh, in the middle of the week, wear a costume if you want, because we're doing Halloween. And it was like, oh, okay. So I'll somehow shift and put it and smush it all together like the monster mash. And so I have mashed it all together. And here we are. But this ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, which is the root of Halloween, and the people lit bonfires to guide the spirits home. So we think in separate terms. There's the spirits, there's God, there's separation, but really it's all this. I mean, can you grasp that it's all one great big thing? I mean, I can talk about it and read about it, and it doesn't get it. What gets it is this experience of oneness, that there is no separation. Charles Fillmore wrote about it. That's what Myrtle Fillmore was doing in her healing work. That's how she healed herself of tuberculosis, of talking to every single cell in her body. She moved her mother-in-law in to do the cooking. She moved into the little house that didn't have a kitchen. And she just sat with herself for years, 2 years specifically, to talk to every single cell in her body to confirm and affirm it whole and well. Now, it doesn't always show up, the wholeness in the body, as we all know well. The wholeness isn't always manifested in our physical condition. And that's a little tricky, isn't it, sometimes, because we think we want that. There was a period at Unity Village, Silent Unity, many, many years ago, where there was such this attitude, if I'm sick, I can't show up, because if I'm sick, it means I'm not praying enough, I'm not godly enough, I'm not spiritual enough. So that's that metaphysical malpractice we talk about, because this is the body, and the body was not what Charles Fillmore wanted, because he thought he could just like live forever, which he has, but not in the way that he thought. So this idea of oneness, of non-dual, because dual means there's him and her, there's God, and there's us. How many of us were raised with this idea that God is over there and we're over here, and we pray to God and hope for God and want God, and then there's supposedly this conduit, Jesus, Rabbi Jesus, Jesus the teacher, Jesus of Nazareth, who is that conduit so we could go through Jesus to get to God, which is nothing Jesus ever said, right? He never said, I'm the only way to get there, or I'm the way. It's a way. There's the Buddhists, the Upanishads, the Atman. All of these great traditions come from this one place of this oneness. So just back to this Celtic year for a moment. It seems to have begun in November with this Feast of Samhain, a name that means either summer's end or assembly. And that's what we're up to too, right? Lighting this inner fire of awareness to guide ourselves home to the truth of our being. So this jack-o'-lantern idea, carved from the darkness, lit from within, becomes a perfect symbol of the illumined soul, a once fearful being now glowing with divine light. So take a moment, since we're in this room, because this is about experience to me. I don't think we can really talk about this stuff. I think we have to have the experience of it. And so I don't really know why I'm up here talking about it. Maybe to just remind, and so I get to have a holy moment, because I get to look at each one of you, and take a moment again to look around the room slowly, catch someone's eye, and have one of those I thou moments, where we get to really see who we are into each other. That namaste moment, that the holy, the God, the divine within me honors and sees it in each one of you. Before COVID, we actually got up and we got to do that with each other. We held each other, we hugged each other, we looked in each other's eyes, and now we're a little more careful about that in the physical sense. But in that metaphysical sense, we are really one being and one thing. There's a great song of Leonard Cohen's called Anthem. Some of you may be familiar with, but there's a line in there that just gets me every time. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Right? Because that's how we open up and actually get to see this truth. The light is within us. It only asks to shine through the cracks in our masks and heal us. So we get to wear these masks today or anytime. And we do wear masks, don't we? We wear masks of personality. And you see, I've got to run through my notes again because I've moved stuff around so much. But I wanted to go over this. I'll come back to it. You know me, I go around, but I always come back to where I started from and bring it all together again. So this idea of division, we were raised with that. I mean, I think that's what humanity is built on, this idea, these mental constructions that we create of the other. And especially in these days where there's so much sense of division and separation in our nation, in our communities, in our world, to hold on to this grand idea. Anybody a student of or have read Eric Butterworth much? He's a great Unity author. One of his favorite to many of us is something about the power within. I can't even remember the title of it. But he was just quite brilliant, and I got to see him a couple of times in New York. Very dry, could hardly understand what he said, but so brilliant. Right? Not like me, who just like blubs it all out all the time. You are not, this is what my favorite, you are not a raisin in a bun, a little separate being inside God. You are the activity of God expressing as you. You are not a raisin in a bun, a little separated being inside of God. You're the activity of God expressing as you. And this is one of Butterworth's ways of illustrating oneness, that we are not in God, we're not something apart from God, but expressions of the divine itself. That word God is kind of limiting, isn't it? Because we equate it with what we were brought up to see God as this male being. Even that song we were going to sing, I had a little issue with it. I'm in my Father's house. It's like, Father's house? Father's house? How about mother's house? How about gender non-specific house? How about the grand big house? God, we're getting to have all our stuff shaken up, aren't we? He often elaborated, this is Butterworth, on this in his talk, saying things like, God is not a being out there somewhere. God is being present as you. You're not apart from God or even a part of God. You are an expression of the allness of God. So really, non-dual awareness is saying reality is one appearing as many. The self we ordinarily identify with, a separate ego, housed in this body, surrounded by others, is a useful fiction. That's a big ask for us to hold that, isn't it? That's a big ask. I mean, how do we live day by day with that grandness, with that oneness? The deeper self, the Christ within, the Buddha nature, the Atman, is not separate from the ground of being. So when the mystics speak of union with God, or Buddhists speak of the emptiness or Taoists of the Tao, they're coming to the same truth, that separation is an illusion. And beneath it all, there is one boundless awareness expressing itself as everything. So why is this, are you familiar with this idea of non-dual awareness? Have you picked up on it? It's kind of out there as a buzzword. Richard Rohr speaks of it. A lot in Unity you bring it up. I don't know if Reverend Patricia's talked about it. Use that term. See, we talk about it all the time because it is what unity is. But now it's kind of this thing. And the more I study it, it's like, why do we need to even study that concept? Because it's what we are. But that's my job, to keep looking and studying so I can bring some of this back to you that you already know. Because you already know it, right? You already know it. You already know it. You know it when you're listening and watching David play and sing. You know it when we're in that glory of guys playing, when he brings, I love it when he brings the Broadway stuff in, because I'm also from New York, so I like that. When we bring our talents out, when we look at a sunset or a sunrise, especially this time of year, when we look at the leaves changing, when we look at a baby, when we get out of our own stuff enough to be right here, right now, because what it really is presence. And that's the main thing that we can share with each other, is presence. I am here now. You are here now. We are here now. This is what it is. And so we live in a divided world, though. We suffer. We cling to what we like. We resist what we don't like. We imagine we are isolated selves fighting for survival, and so fear and anxiety dominate us. And this idea, this non-dual awareness concept, dissolves all that when we glimpse at the same awareness shining in me, shining in you, this namaste concept. Compassion naturally arises. When we see that the trees and the otters and the streams and the animals and the earth itself are not other than us, but expressions of the same whole, this same whole expressing out in so many different ways, care for creation, our care for each other arises just spontaneously. We can't not love. Charles Fillmore talked about love as the harmonizing quality of the universe. We can't not do that. It's harder to stay stuck than to go with the flow. Have you found that? I learned about that from my mother because I judged that she was always stuck, you see, and that she made life hard for herself. That was my judgment. And I thought if she would just go with the flow, and now I realize what it's like to grow up as a single mom and to have the life that she had. But that's where I kind of got this idea. Nobody makes it until we all make it, whatever that means. And when we let go into the flow of life, it doesn't always look pretty, but it's what is. So instead of protecting me against you, we experience this shared flow. And spiritually, it grounds us. It grounds us in peace. The ups and downs still happen, but they're held within a vast consciousness that does not come up. Any of you read the little stories in Daily Word? You know those little stories? This morning I actually read because I've read the ones for October, I read the one for November. And this woman talked about how all these things went wrong with her career and how she held on to this idea of gratitude. And then, of course, it took her into a whole other thing she didn't expect. How hard is that, right? When things aren't going the way we want, when things aren't doing the things we wanted to do, when people are not showing up the way we think they should, our elected leaders perhaps, others, how do we hold that? I'm asking. I don't know. How do we hold that? How do we love? How do we accept? How do we work with it instead of against it? Was anybody out last week for No Kings? Anybody here? That was important for many of us to just say, this is where we stand. Are things going to change because of that? But we get to stand in what we know into our wholeness and wellness. So this non-dual awareness idea, which is not any different from our unit idea, because what we usually do is we try to repackage the same thing over and over. So this is just a repackaging of our unity principles. Is practice and openness. We practice and we're open. We contemplate, we meditate. We do self-inquiry. We practice every day. We do service and compassion. I want to break that up a little bit. So in meditation, when we allow our thoughts to quiet down, that's hard. Anybody quiet for more than 10 seconds? 5 seconds? 3 seconds? But there's this idea of noticing awareness itself. One of the meditations that I listen to, the first thing he says is, come right into awareness. And I know I've got to drop all what I was thinking and how I'm feeling, sitting up straight, my back is hurt, Just drop it. Right now, let's just drop it and be in the awareness of this field of energy. We're in the room. There are these walls around us. We have people in their own rooms doing whatever they're doing to listen and be with us. They're with us. Isn't that wild? These people are with us that are sitting at home or wherever. We rest as this field of awareness appears. And this shift from the wave to the ocean, because the wave is not separate from the ocean, it's just the ocean moving. And we allow whatever comes to come. And a lot of it is just junk, right? It's just like yin and yin and yin and yin, but we don't hold on to it. We just let it do that, and we remain present. For some of us, sitting up straight or standing up or being in some kind of posture that works for us to be with ourselves is what works. And so some traditions follow this practice called this who am I practice. And I want to tell you, many years ago, I know how long ago it was because it was right when Elvis died. So that was a long time ago, wasn't it? Like long time ago. I was still living in Florida. Hadn't met my husband yet. I was a baby. Well, I went to this week-long workshop. And what we did in this workshop, and I didn't know what I was getting into, of course we don't, is we would sit in a dyad with another person for 40 minutes. And the other person, I would say to Star, tell me who you are. And you would say something. Say something. Tell me who you are. Just whatever pops up. A child of God. Tell me who you are. And we would just ask the question. I won't put you on the spot. For 40 minutes. And then we would switch and the other person. And the things that came out, I'm an idiot. I'm a child of God. I'm a daughter. I'm a son. I'm a friend. I'm a mother. I'm an idiot. I'm worth nothing. I'm worth everything. And it was just the most powerful experience for a week to do this. Tell me who I am. Tell me who you are. Tell me who you are. Tell me who you are. Because most of it is just, passing. But what's true is that moment of letting it pass. Have you had that experience? In whatever way that you allow yourself to have that and go with the fear, the terror of what you might find? Because what you find is, I am a child of God. I'm a wave in the ocean. I'm not a raisin in a bun. I'm in this flow of goodness. I'm in this flow of Godness. And so every day, whether it's a walk in the woods, a bike ride, looking in a child's eyes, whatever it is that you do, you have to, I'm telling you, you have to take those moments and let that, all that isn't you, fall away. Because if it was real, it would last. And those things don't last, right? The mind talk and the judgment and the not enoughness and the ego stuff and the masks that say this is my personality or this is this or that because I'm afraid if you really saw me, you wouldn't like me. If you really saw me, I wouldn't matter. If you really saw me, you'd run away. Is that true? See, there's then because we're Halloween, we got to talk about the shadow, right? You know, the shadow, this guy, this guy. I don't know who you are over there, buddy, and I should know your name, and I do, but I'm like, with a twinkle in your eye, the Phantom of the Opera. The what? These aren't separate states of consciousness that we go looking for. It's the truth of us. What I love about unity, because I'm so mental, that what grabbed me about unity was Charles Fillmore, because he's so interesting and he's so intellectual, and it took that, because I'd done all this other stuff too. I did the Tell Me Who You Are for like, and I did all kinds of things, but it was the mental work of Charles Fillmore who talked about the states. See, his wife had the experience, and he wrote about it and thought about it, and that's what brought me in. But Myrtle was the true mystic. And those of you maybe new to Unity, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore are the founders of the Unity movement. They never meant to start a church. They ended up actually ordaining their teachers because they could get discounts on trains when they would send their teachers out. Really, they didn't plan on creating this thing. They had prayer groups and prayer moments where you could be 10 o'clock every night. The Fillmores would go up on the roof in the summer in Missouri where it's hot as this place. And they would invite people all over the world to pray with them. And Charles, in the 30s, he was into radio. Right now he'd be all over the internet, or he would have been before that shifted. But he was in the tower at Unity Village on the radio communicating with people all over Africa. Africa has a very large unity presence in its own interesting, wonderful way because of what Charles did in the 30s and 40s. So there's all these different ways we do what we do, and we end up never where we thought we would be. I don't know how I ended up like this here with my life and my background, but I know I have something to share because I know that there's something, it's like you can almost touch it in the air. There's something grand and great that transcends what we were brought up with and who we were told God was and how we were supposed to act like and all those things. That's tangible. Some of us found it through books, some of us through practice, some of us through pharmaceuticals of a certain type at a certain time of our lives, But whatever it took to be here now, that we've survived, because not everybody did, that we're here with each other this way, it's just delicious. It's delicious. It's delicious. So, I come up with these titles to my talks before I really get into them, and this one I had come up with was Everything Belongs, which is so perfect, because everything belongs. When we talk about gratitude, we always talk about, well, you have to be grateful for the bad things that happen and the good things, but it's not even at that level of gratitude, it's everything. Grateful for everything, even what's going on. We're getting such a great lesson now, aren't we, with what's going on in the world? We're getting such a great teaching about how to hold the consciousness and how to hold this idea of these, our 12 powers, these principles of love and peace and joy and acceptance. And those are the principles of everything. And we have to hold that now. We can't get into, I'm not going to talk to him, and he's crazy. We hold everything. Can you do that? Can we do that? Because that's where that shift happens. What is it, 11% or something? I think they said the No Kings was only 7% of the population. We need 11% to create some kind of consciousness shift. So again, the question becomes, I wrote down, how do we live and practice this non-dual awareness in this current atmosphere of division and separateness? Well, it's not about ignoring the pain in the world. It's about seeing through it to the underlying unity that remains untouched. Direct awareness. So right now I invite you just to allow your eyes to close, unless that's uncomfortable for you, but allow your eyes to close for a moment. And just quietly to yourself, not out loud, say, I am. And these thoughts are right or wrong and good and bad. Let that just go away. I am. I am. And if you wish, say it aloud with me one time. I am. Oh. And allow your eyes to open. We haven't even gone into our meditation yet, which we will in a few minutes. It's like, it's this still point within where unity really begins. It seems really fleeting, but it's not. It's underneath everything. It's everything you've been working on your whole life, expressing your music, expressing your cooking, expressing your love. Everything that you've done is a pathway to this. No, I haven't really done anything important. Everything that you do with all of you is a pathway. Now, Halloween is this season of shadow and masks and costumes, which is kind of like our journey in consciousness from fear to freedom, disguise to divine realization and oneness. I mean, we tend to wear this mask of personality on my job, on my story, on my past. We wear the mask of protection. If they really knew me, they wouldn't love me. The mask of limitation, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too busy, I'm too late. But that's not who you are. That's not who you are. Charles Filmer wrote, the real self is never sick, never sinful, never afraid. It is the Christ within. So Halloween's not about escaping from reality, it's about revealing it, right? And so I'm going to lead us in an affirmation, and then we can go into our meditation. I'm so happy when I make all these notes and I don't use them. It's really wonderful, isn't it? It's like being present in the moment. I was a little hyped up this morning just for this reason or that reason or no reason at all. But I'm really glad to be here because I get the most out of this, you know. I get to know what I'm thinking. I heard a writer once say he writes so he knows what he's thinking. I do this so I know what I'm thinking because it solidifies it for me and it grounds it in me better. And I hope it does that for you too because you are here. You know, you're getting something out of it. It might be the food. But it might be because you get something of value from the message. I hope that's so for you this morning. So, where's the affirmation that I wanted to hear? I had something right here. Hold on. Hang in with me. I got it. And then we'll go into our meditation. So I'm going to say it once and then break it down and you can follow me. what we're going to say together is, I release all that no longer serves my awakening. I stand in the light of truth and am made new. So together, I release all that no longer serves my awakening. I stand in the light of truth and I am made new. And so let us now, the lights will go down, and I invite you to just settle into your chair even more comfortably than you are now, because you are the light of the world. You can take up as much space as you want. You want to put your feet up, stretch out, take 2 seats. You do whatever you do to take your space, because you are everything, and everything belongs. The light you carry is real and eternal and unstoppable. There is no separation. We truly are all one. And so again, the invitation is to come to yourself. No one's watching. Nobody cares, really. It's your time. It's your moment. And those thoughts that can't help but run through your mind are just those thoughts. That's all they are. They're not real. I hate to break it to you, but thoughts are not real. They're just thoughts. What's real is presence. And so feel yourself then surrounded by the warmth that is here. From the comfort of the building, of the room, to the beautiful energy of the people all around you. And as you take some deep conscious breaths, allow your exhale to be longer than your inhale, so you truly let go of what no longer needs to be in your body, in your lungs, in your consciousness, and you take in the new. 2 or 3 breaths like that. And then just settle into the rhythm of your own breath, of your own body, of your own juiciness, of your own presence. And now imagine any mask that you've been wearing. The one that says, not enough, too busy, too late. And gently lift it up and put it down beside you. For beneath it, there is light. Beneath it, there is love. Beneath it shines the divine, the Christ, not the raisin in the bun. The Atman, your true self, radiant and whole. And as those little chatterboxes just continue to come in, they don't bother you. They don't take you away from this true self, this true moment of being. You just let them be what they are. For you know the truth of your being. You know the truth of all humanity, all life. All life. The trees and the birds, the earth itself. We are all one. And as you breathe in your own natural way, imagine this light shining outward, blessing your loved ones, this community, the Santa Rosa community, the Bay Area, our nation, the world. And you whisper within. The light shines in me and no darkness can overcome it. Yes, I have the crack in consciousness in my being, and that's where the light comes in even brighter. The light shines in me, as me, for me, and no darkness can overcome it. I unmask my true self, the radiant light of divine love, and all shadows dissolve in this brilliance of truth. Take a few more moments in the silence and a little bit of music. Allow your breath to begin to deepen, the inhale and the longer exhale. And if you so wish, with your eyes still closed, give yourself a hug. For you truly are, we are the light of God, expressing as our individual selves. And then hug yourselves the other way, your arms in the other position. And let that go. Allow your eyes to open for a moment and then close them again. Just notice the relaxed state of your physical body right now. And the glory of who you are. You're God. We are one. There is no separation. Everything belongs. And therefore all is well. And as you allow your eyes to open now, we say, Amen, Amen,